we're obviously apart financially.
Yeah.
So I've invited Dr. Legutko to give a brief State of the Union of our finances and have you question her about any budget impacts that we're having this year. Some questions, I don't know whether Sonia answered everything. We thought we'd have her here briefly. But I wanted you all to have a chance to ask questions related to what we're doing with the fund balance, if that's okay. Does that sound good? All right.
Oh, so I'm up. Okay. Hi, good afternoon. It's afternoon, right? Yes. Hi. I'll wait till Betsy gets her mask on. Fine. At the last meeting, my Director of Finance, provided you all with an update of, I'd like to stand if you don't mind. It's going like this. Provided an update of our financial situation. Since then, I will tell you, nothing has changed. As you know, I will go over the same information that was presented. We are facing a reduction in our revenue. As you know, when we did our budget, which was presented in September, the final budget that was presented in September, it was based on revenue, or it was based on FTE that was projected as of January of last year. So based on that, we were able to develop a budget of about $331 million for general fund. Since then, of course, COVID hit. We have not been able to adjust that budget down based on the projected, not projected, based on our actual FTE that we will generate. As you know, because of COVID, a lot of our students went to virtual. There is a difference in our funding from virtual versus brick and mortar, students attending brick and mortar. It's about a $2,000 or $3,000 difference in revenue. So as a result of that, what I projected in January for this fiscal year is going to be reduced significantly based on the number of students that decided to attend virtual. In addition to that, I think the number I had out there, I'll tell you, virtual, we receive about $5,200 per student. Brick and mortar, we receive about $7,000, $7,600 per student. So there's a difference of at least $2,000, over $2,000 that we will lose in funding for just the difference in brick and mortar versus virtual. In addition to that, since we've done our October count, it appears that we have not accounted for about 1,000 students that we will not receive funding for. So 1,000 times 7, it's a significant amount of money there that we will adjust our budget based on that information. Also impacting our budget is our homeschool. Last year, of course, our homeschool was down about 300 this year. As a result of COVID, it has increased, it's doubled. So we have about 600 students attending virtual homeschool. VPK, that's totally down. You know, we will lose VPK funding, and as a result of that, we have the same amount of teachers, nothing's changed, so we will need to accommodate and pay those teachers. Well, if the VPK funding doesn't come in, general fund picks up the cost and has to cover the differences in the funds we do not generate. We're looking at our local property taxes. We don't know that everyone is going to be able to pay their property taxes. We won't know until late November, after November, December. We will know whether or not we're in the ballpark of the funding that I projected. for our collection. Actually, it's not what I projected, it's what our trim, you've been in our budget presentation, the trim, whatever the state has directed us to generate locally so that we can generate the state dollars. I've got to figure out whether or not, at that point, if we will collect those dollars. What else? Again, everything has a domino effect. So if we don't collect our local taxes, if we don't generate the FTE that we projected, it impacts our overall budget that was presented in September. I am confident that in January, once we know our numbers, once the state releases our numbers, we will probably most likely be presenting another budget, a public budget, to our board for potential reduction in revenue. Because I do not see us bringing in the revenue that we projected in September as a result of COVID. COVID has had a huge impact on our dollars, statewide, local-wide. What else? Another thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that the executive order that was presented stated that the governor is going to hold us harmless. Well, that's only effective through December 31st. We do not know what's going to happen after that. And as a result of that, we will, depending on what he says or what the message he brings to us, would determine whether or not we're going to survive this year and what we will, what the expectation will be for next year. That's all I have so far. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Leggett. We understand that this is an exceptionally difficult year for everyone. And it is an exceptionally difficult year for our teachers. You have a fund balance that has increased by more than double in the last 4 or 5 years. Your fund balance is $36 million. Our ask is about 1.8. I don't know why that's an issue. I mean, I understand that your job is to be conservative and make the projections, but each year, and you, like most other finance officers around the state, project that you will have a smaller fund balance than you actually end up with, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But we save that for a rainy day, and it's storming. And we need for some of that fund balance to be released to the teachers.
Okay. My job as a CFO is to be fiscally responsible and accountable to the board and to the citizens of Clay County School District, Clay County. With that being said, that $34 million in fund balance does not represent unrestricted. As you know, fund balance is made up of multiple funding sources. One is restricted. Restricted means that there are funding that comes to this district or comes through for to support, but it's restricted to specific activities. For instance, instructional materials. Part of our budget, and my budget is public information out there. Anyone can go out and see it. Instructional materials is specific to be spent for instructional materials. I cannot spend that money on anything else. If there's any funds remaining, I've got to roll it forward to the following year, and that's part of what's left over. It's fund balance, and it goes towards supporting the following year of services in addition to the funding that the state gives us. So, so when you say I have $38 million, I would love to have $38 million to spend and to say, yes, I can give it, I can support the request that everyone asked for. But in reality, I may only have about $15 million, which is about 5%. And yes, I will say, over the last couple of years, we have struggled and struggled to maintain a savings account for a rainy day. And a rainy day means it's either a hurricane or a catastrophe that has happened, that we are able to support the employees of this school district and continue to keep them employed and pay their salaries.
So Dr. Legecko, I appreciate the information that you're bringing. I believe the figure is $36 million. And in the last 4 or 5 years, the teachers have gotten a nice raise every year, and you've continued to build that fund balance. We don't see, if it's $15 million, we're still only asking for 1.8. You were fully funded through the spring of last year, and you had a lot of savings in different areas because educating children at home is less expensive than educating them in a school building. So I understand, as I've said, that this is difficult and that you have to make difficult choices. But we need you to make a difficult choice that relieves some of the stress. And some of these teachers are so burned out. They are working for you 12 and 15 hours a day. And we need you to prioritize that.
Thank you, Dr. Legecko. Just to be clear, Dr. Legecko is not prioritizing anything. The board, as you know, prioritizes what our authority is. She's just giving you the State of the Union, the adverse effects on the budget, and what the numbers are. The numbers are what they are. If there's a 5% unassigned fund balance, that's below the state average. And there's things in the horizon that affect everyone. We do agree this is a stressful time for teachers, for custodians, for bus drivers, for everybody in the building. But we'll try to push forward. We just wanted to let you know what's impacted us, not from budgeting or mistakes or over hiring, or it's essentially the students generate money or take away money, and it's happening statewide. So we just wanted to share that information, and that's all. We'll just proceed and try to forge ahead. Honor on our salary.
Yes, we do. But before we put that across the table, I want to make a few comments about this compression. We are very, very disheartened that the board and the district failed to take a stand here. We believe that we had more flexibility. We believe that the State Department of Education is bullying districts into submission. And we hoped that you would stand with us. As you have not, we do have a proposal tonight that does include your compression. I get Jamie to hand it to you.
Just to be clear, we believe it would be illegal not to go to the highest minimum maximum salary that the law requires and that Department of Education follows. And so the board has to follow the law. And so we did not want compression. Compression was a result of getting the true minimum maximum salary. No other way to do it, one way to do it. Don't know anyone else who hasn't done it and got away with it. So we did not make a conscious choice, but we had to follow the law. We did not seek compression. We understand, for her, it's a recruiting problem. It's a morale problem. The law created the problem. So we would have easily followed anything you proposed if it didn't even say 80-20. We'd do 50-50, but we just have to follow it. And it is unfortunate, and we're not proud of following it. It's just we have to do what we have to do as elected officials.
While we do recognize the state's role in this year, it is, part of this problem has been exacerbated by the year, not the past 3 or 4, but years past that we went without significant increases. The salary schedule has fallen behind, and we think that the board, and maybe not this board, but the board, bears some responsibility on that as well. So our proposal, we agreed to the compression reluctantly, and we'll use that 80% to bring them up to 44,980, and accept the general fund dollars that you had proposed to bring the non-classroom teachers up. And we are asking for you to contribute $2.2 million, including the $370 that you had already offered, to make sure that none of our teachers receive less than $1,500 increase.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Ready?
Okay, we're good.
All right, we have a counter proposal. We, as discussed earlier, we have financial issues in the district and can't afford what you're asking for, but we'll go over what our offer is and what we're trying to accomplish. For years in the district, there has been a leapfrogging issue. We've had MOUs involved in leapfrogging. We are trying to address that issue on step 20 and below. Above, sorry, 20 and above. The board is going to put $200,000, additional $200,000, you could see in the salary schedule, to try to address that leapfrogging issue that has persisted and tried to be addressed over the years. And your last offer was $2,210,000. I have to say, this year, this budget year, on July 30th, we spent $2,010,000 on health insurance by taking the entire increase. So when you look at the fund balance, not all of that was your unit, but $2 million went into health insurance, where some districts are given a bonus and handling it different ways. We went ahead of the curve and took the whole 5.9% increase, which is another subtraction, again, from the overall fund balance. So we are not saying your ask is unreasonable. We're just saying everything is relative. And so we're just trying to fix one of the issues we have. We can't fix compression. We'd like to work on it in the future, but we do know for years leapfrogging has been an issue. So in addition to what they would make under the teacher salary increase allocation program, it will go up to $1,700 to try to fix that dilemma that's been going on, it seems like forever. And again, the board would have liked to spread this money all over and not go the 80-20 route. I can't say that enough. I don't know a single person on both union and management side who believes this is a wise way to spend public money by being told. And the desired goal to get everybody into teaching college, I don't think that's working. If you look at the stats, and some schools are closing. So this is what we can do with what we have, not the reflection of how hard everyone is working. I know through personal experience, family experience, and marriage, this is the toughest time ever that has ever been. It's like teaching during a hurricane. It's not easy. We know it. We absolutely know it. I know it's not the number you want. We understand that, but it's the number the board feels is fiscally responsible so that we can continue on next year. Do you have any questions on how this offer works?
Yeah, do you have a response to the substitute language?
Yes.
Okay, on the substitute language, we're working with Kelly Services. We've put out large recruitment flyers through Peach Jar and on the district websites, and we are getting responses. I also was in contact with the board yesterday and today to, under the emergency, we have an emergency subcategory with our contract that I was able to get with Kelly Services, and we can hire those who have a high school diploma, if they're age 21, under this emergency sub to help fill this, because the district does not have any money to put into any new language right now. We looked at trying to increase sub pay, and they just said there is no money to put into that at the time. So the best thing we have to do is work on building our pool, which we are getting new applicants. We cleared about 10 this week through fingerprints. I know 10 might not seem a much, but, within just, those were immediate responses from our recruitment. And I think it also helped with, Mr. Broski mentioned it at the board meeting, asking parents to step up and volunteer. So for right now, the board has only approved for us to go back with original language on this and work on building the sub-pool.
First, I'd like to announce that while we're on break, a Clay County teacher passed away from COVID. One of our members, one of your employees. There's nothing like teaching in a hurricane. That's a week, maybe a month or two of cleanup.
No, I did not mean teaching in a hurricane, teaching during a hurricane, like total chaos. Don't take me literally. I know this is a worldwide pandemic. I get it. I'm trying to make you understand I get it. I've been in 15 districts. It's horrific. It's worse than a hurricane, I get it, but it's like a hurricane every day. It never ends. Hurricane ends, this doesn't end. So I'm not taking that lightly, so I think you misunderstood or I misspoke. But good God, this is a never-ending problem, and it'll be here next year. So I apologize if you thought I poo-pooed COVID. I'm not. I've been there. I mean, I've had problems. It's affected my family.
Is this your final and best offer?
Yes,
Light is on.
yes,
Hold it close.
yes, this is our best and final offer. Okay. So you say you believe, so you'll write the letter to the Perkinet? And just so you know, by December 1st, we will notify the Department of Education we're at impasse, and we will not have access to any of these monies until impasse is over. So no one gets paid. And that's your choice, and that's your privilege under 447, and we respect that right. Would you consider this, spending the money we have now? I have to phrase this carefully. Waiting for the February count and then asking for more then and going to impasse over just that amount then. See what I mean? Your differences.
Let us talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Did you understand what he's?
We have spent the last probably few months discussing possible scenarios with our members. And I do not believe that the promise of something possible in February is going to make this ratifiable. I believe that it will be rejected by our membership, and therefore we are at impasse.
Your choice.
If it's your belief that they won't ratify it, why not take it to them and let them make that choice, Betsy? With the proposal, that way, if they choose, if the 51% or more of your body chooses that they want to get paid now and then possibly negotiate for more money once we know what's coming up, what do you have to lose to try that?
We have surveyed our members, and we believe we have a clear understanding of where they are. And I don't see any reason to delay that. They get money. They will be paid as they have always been paid until we settle this.